Hi guys, welcome to Charities Bible USA, your number one channel. I haven't done some videos here in a while. I think in like a little bit, but today I want to do a video. You can see the topic there: use of drugs among immigrants, and I'm just gonna generalize the immigrants because when you come to this country, you are an immigrant, regardless of what you're an immigrant. Now, first of all, I want to know how you have been doing. I'm doing fine. I've been so busy, but I got some time. So because I know it's important that I do videos, I saw a comment there that someone was asking where I have gone. I haven't gone anywhere, guys. But sometimes life catches up with you, and you have to do. It is what it is. But now I'm here. My name is Charity Nganga. This is Charities Bible USA, your number one channel. Today we are going to talk about use of drug among immigrants, and mostly I'm going to talk so much. I like relying so much or touching so much about the African immigrants because that's where I come from, and I came here as an immigrant. It's gonna be 10 years on May the 20th. Francis is there, so I'm gonna try to, but he doesn't wanna come to the camera. So when I came in, I know that we came as a family, and when you come into the US, there's one thing that happens to the people around you. They have high expectations of you, very high expectations. That is your family members, your brothers, your sisters, everybody, even the village people. They have very high expectations on you. And then when you come here in the US, it's very different, guys. It's different. And it starts being different from the food that you're gonna eat. It's gonna be different from the anything. Even like meeting a person on the road, even sitting on a bench, you find that you're not gonna go and just sit on a bench because you found there's an empty space and someone is sitting there. No, there's something that's called private space that Americans really value. And you have to learn that when you come here. So I'm not sure if it's the culture shock or if it's right lack of the right guidance, or when we talk about our young people, especially for us parents, we have young people who have who are so much in drugs right now, and the parents don't know like how did it start or what happened. So that's what I want to talk about today. And when you come in, you meet some people. Of course, when you come to the US, you're going to find a host. So your host can determine whether you're going to fail or you're going to succeed. But you have your own mind. And sometimes you don't have to do what you're being told to do all the time. Sometimes you question, and you make your own decisions. It's very good to listen to what people are telling you. But at the end of the day, it's good to make decisions. So let's talk about where all this starts. You find that there is not so much social life here in America. It's not, there is, I would say that it is not. And you can see by when you look at something like dating, in Africa, people meet, maybe you can meet in church, you meet in a party, you meet in a funeral, you meet, all those things. But you find that here, something like online dating makes a lot of money because people are very busy, people are working with these schedules whereby you wake up in the morning, you go to work, or maybe you work at night. So you find that during the day you're going to be sleeping. So you're not going to meet many people. So the social aspect that you find there is not here at all, guys. It's not here. And that's something that you have to learn. Because even your next door neighbor, you're not going to be going to your next door neighbor to ask for salt or to ask for anything like the way we do at home. No, that one is not there. Even your parents, if you have your parents here, unless you're living with them in your own house, it's gonna be so hard even to be visiting them all the time because you have your own schedule, they have their own schedule. So what I'm trying to say is that the social life is not there, but you have met these friends, or maybe you like I do remember when we came in. There was this person who was telling us that here you have to form a group, like people form groups. You have different kinds of groups whereby you decide this weekend you're not working, so you're going to be meeting, you do barbecue, you drink and all that stuff, which is not bad. It's okay to socialize. It's really good, guys, to meet, because human beings are social beings, so it's very good to meet people. But at the end of the day, you want to ask yourself, what kind of people am I going to meet? What are their ways? What are they doing? Because you find that here, something like beer, something like wine, it's something that's very cheap. So you can keep it in your house, and you find that everywhere that you're going, you will find it. So if I bring visitors in my house, and we are doing barbecue, me and Francis, and we are drinking and everything, what are our children saying? Because you find that children are like sponges, they imitate, they like to do what their parents are doing. Even like if I look at my 4-year old, she would like even to wear my wig or maybe to put on my shoes because she wants to follow into my shoes. So you find that the children are seeing what you're doing, and then they will want to do that because it's okay. Because if the parents are doing, that's okay for them. Hmm? What about the adults? Sometimes you can go to a party, maybe you're not on drugs or anything, but you go to a party and then someone just slides something in your drink. You're not gonna know, but the next day you will want to go back there because there's something that was put in your drink that maybe you are not used to. So before you get to know what you are taking, you are already your body is really craving for that, and you never know. Even drinking, you find that you start with 1 beer, and then 10 beers, and then you have all this freedom that you have in your house, and you find that there's some people who are drinking themselves to death because everything is there at the table. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying what choices are you making depending on where we came from. We came from Africa. You know that times were hard there. It wasn't easy. You weren't born in a house whereby you have everything. Like, I tell my children, like, you guys have everything. There's food in the fridge. There's food even outside. There's food, like there's everything. The TV is there. There's a computer. We didn't have all that. So that's what you have to think about when you come to live here in the US, and think about where you came from. And when it comes to our children, because the bringing up of children here is a little bit different, because you talk a lot to them. You have to be their friends. You have to be in these conversations, and you have to set limits in your house. Because, for example, um, something like a sleepover is something that I have never approved for. We don't approve that in our house. We've had so many discussions about that, and we decided that it was a no-no. Because you find that when children grow up, and especially when they are in high school, they are learning that independence, and it's okay, and it's all about friends. It's okay, it's fine, but where are they going? Do you know where your children are going? If your child is going to see a friend, do you know the parents of those friends that they are going to visit, or they're just telling you, I'm going for a sleepover, and then you just let them go? Because there's one thing, as African parents, sometimes we fail and we don't know whether we are failing, because we come here and there is so much that we want to achieve, especially if you come here as an adult and you have a family. So what happens is that because of work and schedule, there's gonna be a gap whereby you're not gonna be able to spend so much time with your kids as you would want. Because, for example, like me, my schedule is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I go to work. So if I'm not very careful, I might end up even not seeing my kids, because when I come in, I take a shower, I take my breakfast, and then I go to sleep. At least I have to make sure that I've gotten at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep, so that I can be able to go to work, because my work is very demanding, like very, very, very demanding, whereby most of the time I spend on my feet. So by the time I am done, I am so tired. But do I let that fatigue get in the way of me knowing what's going on with my kids? No, I cannot do that. Does Francis do that? No, he cannot afford to do that. Why? Because we are the guiders. We have to guide them. And if we do not guide our children, and we don't know where they are going or who they are moving with, that's how they get introduced. I've listened to a story of a very young person who, like very, very, very young person, um, who got into drugs. But how she got into drugs was, she didn't even know, because they would go with two friends, they would go to parties, they would go to outings, and then her friends would give her a taste of something, of which at that point she didn't realize what she was taking. But by the time they came to show her, or to like to get her initiated into that, she was already addicted. And here in the US, it's very, it's different, guys. Because if you if you're a young person, maybe 18 and above or whatever, and you're found, you are on drugs, you're caught, you're on drugs, maybe you're driving, you're on drugs, or maybe you have gone somewhere and you have forgotten yourself, you have fallen asleep. Of course, people are going to call the cops, and so, because they don't know what's going on with you. And then if you get into the system with drugs, it is very, 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 very hard to get rid of that, unless God helps you, and then maybe you go to rehab, you get help, and then you're able to get clean, which is very, very hard because this is something that is in your system. And it is very, very hard because your body, your blood is used to functioning with that. So for you to relapse and go back to drugs, or for you to relapse and go back to drinking, is very, very easy because your body wants it. It's not the way, like, if you're in drugs or you are into drinking, you cannot just wake up one day and say that you're going to stop. It takes a lot of willpower, guys. It takes a lot of therapy. It takes a lot of, I cannot imagine to tell you what it takes. And then you find that if you are young, like the young people, 20s, 25, whatever, and maybe you are living with your parents, when you get introduced to drugs, you're not going to live with your parents anymore. No, you will not. You are not even going to be allowed to be left if you have siblings. They're not going to let you. Like, what's going to come to you is that you cannot even be trusted to be left with your younger siblings. Like, you cannot be around them when there is no responsible adult. You see what I mean? Like, it is so. It's a process that can be very, very, very stressful and very tiring. But where are the African parents going wrong? Because there is all this culture shock, there is all this different way of bringing up children here in the US, and a different way of bringing up children in Africa. And I'm not saying that in Africa people are not taking grants, they are. But when we come to this side, you find that we do not, as parents, I think there is some place that we just let it be. Because in Africa, it's corporal punishment, and I know you understand when I talk about corporal punishment. Like, if your parents say it's a no, it's a no. It's, what I mean. Like, they will, you know. But when it comes here, you have to start dialoguing with your kids. You have to know them beyond, help them to trust you, be their friend, but on some whereby to an extent that they can open up to you. But you still have to set boundaries. You set boundaries. Who is that friend? Why are you moving in with them? What's going on? Why do you want to go out? Sometimes you have to accompany them, so that you know where are they going. And I'm saying that because right now my son is going to turn 22. Actually, he turned 22 in January. And I am not... I'm not bragging, but it has taken the will of God for us to bring up that child to be an upright person up to where he is right now. Because I always worried, this is a world that is full of, that is full of drugs. It's full of so many bad things that could go wrong with your children, especially because they don't have that 100% mind of saying no. They are so much influenced by their friends. Teenagers, it's all about friends, my friend, my whatever. The phones, the internet. It's not a helper either. So if you fail to become the role model, the guider, you find that our children, who we have brought here for them to have a better life, because regardless of what, if you are an immigrant, you came from Africa and you came with your children here, you know that your children are very lucky. They have an opportunity to go to good colleges. They can even join the military. They can do whatever. The sky is the limit, guys. Here, the sky is the limit. Because even if the parents are not able to pay even for school fees, they get grants, and especially the black community. There's so many grants that you can get, and like, there is so much advantages of our kids to be here. But the saddest thing is that you find that you hear the stories because people don't come live and talk about it. It's under the rug that, oh, so and so, their child, they are on drugs or whatever happened, because there is not that awareness of we are not telling our children, and sometimes we don't even want to know what our children are doing because we are so busy trying to make the dollars. Of which at the end of the day, there was a time that I used to work very, very hard, like very, very, very hard. I was really working. Before I became an RN, I was really working. And then one time I asked myself, I looked at the money I was making, and then I looked at my expenditure, how much I was spending, not even counting the bills or anything. How much was I spending, especially to buy things that I have and I don't need? It was so much expenditure that I was having. And then I asked myself, is it worth it for me to work all that hard and then buy all this stuff that I don't need and my children do not have a mother? You know what I mean? I asked myself that. And I decided to cut down. Hmm? I decided to cut down so that I can know what's going on with my children. Hmm? Even the one who is in military right now, I make sure that I talk to him often. I want to know what's going on with him. I know he's 22, he's an adult, but I want to know what's going on with him. So we have to create time for our kids. We have to know what challenges are they facing when they go to school and they go to college. Know that, let them know that you're there for them, so that they can come and ask, and they can confide in you. That's what I can say. They don't have to ask you everything, but they can confide in you. And sometimes when you know them very, very well, you will know when something is going wrong. Because you are the parent. You will know. If something is off with your child and you're taking so much attention, you're paying attention, you will know. Like the slight change, you're going to know with your children. So it's sad, guys. And as parents, we need to start being good role models. We need to, guys. We need to step up. We need not to leave our children take care of themselves when we go to work. Because we have to work all these doubles and all those hours. Sometimes it doesn't help, guys. It doesn't help. We want to bring up a generation which is gonna be successful. Because it's so sad when you have a child, you have brought them up, you had so many plans for them, but at the end of the day, right now they are in the system because they are on drugs, and not even being on the system, you don't even know whether they are gonna be able to get out of that, because they started when they were very young, and you don't even know. Some of them will even go to jail. And that's the same case that you find that even our young people or even our African community, we are getting depressed and nobody is knowing, because we don't take the time even to check on one another. We don't even take the time to know our friends better, so that we can know so and so has been this way, but there is a change with this person. So we have to. There's so many things as African parents that we have to do. We have to step up, especially when our kids are growing. Goodness, I have all ages in my house. I have a 4-year-old. I have a 7-year-old. I have a 13-year-old, and I have a 22-year-old. I have all ages in my house, and I can tell you that those 4 individuals think very differently. They do think very differently. Like my Christine, my teenager. She's 13 now. I have to sit down there and we talk. I listen to her so much, and you find that most of the time I do a lot of listening so that I can know what's going on with her. So I do not enforce. Sometimes I don't have to enforce a dialogue with her. I tell her this is the right thing to do, and these are the consequences if you do it wrong. But are we having that time? Is it why even our husbands, there are some people, like even their husbands, they are just so much deep in alcoholism that you don't even know what to do. You cannot take them out of it. When did things start going wrong? Did you notice? Well, were you so busy going to work, making all this money? It's good to make money. Everybody loves a good life. Everybody loves money. But when it's when you compare the dollar and your family members or your children, even your husband, even wives, even women, like they are, sometimes you can especially let's assume like it's a divorce and the woman has been left with the kids. Some of them just turn into drinking. They just drink themselves to death. So you find that you never know what happened to that person. So it's a high time that we kind of went back and seen, where did we go wrong? What are we doing wrong that we find that our children are failing and we are not knowing? That you will find out that your child is on drugs when a policeman shows up at your door. and they're telling you this and this happened, or maybe you get a phone call and they tell you that your child is in the hospital, or they have been arrested because they did 1, 2, 3, 4, or even your spouse. We have to take time to understand our family, because the family is the is the first unit. Charity begins at home. If you do it well, you know what I say and what I always tell myself. I say that I'm gonna try all my best. I'm gonna try to cancel. I'm gonna try to talk. I'm gonna put those boundaries that nobody is gonna step on, and if they have to step on, we have to talk about it. And if all that fails, if I have done my work as a parent, then I will never feel guilty if someone decides otherwise. That's what I tell my children. I tell them, I'll give you everything. I'll tell you everything that you need to know about outside there. I don't want it to come from another person. I want it to come from me. Something like even sex education. I talk about it here, like even during breakfast. And my kids, they used to be very embarrassed, but now they're used to it. Because I'm going to talk about it, like I just talk about it because I know if I don't talk, someone else is going to try and tell them about it, about drugs, about alcoholism, about smoking, about vaping. If I don't talk about all those things, they will find out from their friends. They're going to find out from the internet. But I have to sit down and tell them, yes, it is done. But these are the consequences. This is what happens. But you find that if you center your life on only going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, you don't even want to know what's going on, then things go wrong. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, about drugs among immigrants and even the adults. There's a lot of stress here, a lot of stress. And unless you want to talk, like me, I don't. When I'm at home, I talk so much with my husband, like really, really much. And I classify myself as an introvert because I don't have so many friends. Very, very, very few friends. I do have. Maybe I can count. I can tell you that I only have one good friend, like very, very close to me, and I have another one. I would say two friends that I can go to if I have something that's going on, and but one is more very, very, very close to me, and very dear to me. I really like that woman. So you find that if I want to vent or there's something that I cannot discuss with Francis, then I can go and talk to that friend of mine. If it's something that maybe something like I feel like I need maybe a woman to talk to. See what I mean? But you find that here we are so busy, like there is nothing. Like it's hard for people to know, or for the people around you to know when something is changing. We have to know one another very well. We have to even do those phone calls. You don't have to go to all social gatherings so that you can be up to date with people. Because people, even our own immigrants, they're dying. You find that someone died in their house and nobody got to know, and they got found there when maybe their manager called and they were asking where that person was. So it's very, very, very important for us to think about it. To think about how are we gonna be better, because we need to be better. We need to bring up a generation that is gonna help themselves, not a generation that's gonna fail. And then at the end of the day, you find that they are in the street. Francis, the work that he does, he meets so many people. And one time he told me that he met a Kenyan guy. Actually, he was from our tribe. This guy was homeless. He had nothing. He was just sitting. And then they got to talk. And it was a sad story because that person has never gone home. That person, maybe when even back there in Africa, even his own mom thinks that they are still doing okay, but they are not. So if we don't start having these conversations, talking to our kids, even talking to the people who are going wrong, and telling them there is help. It's help. If you are drowning in alcoholism, there is help that you can get. If you are in drugs, there's help that you can get. If we don't do that, because the African way is that we are so much used to hiding it, and we don't talk about it. It's very, very different from Americans, because when you meet an American, you will talk to them, and then if you sit down with them, like in the next, let's assume you have gone to a store and you have to wait. Like the other day, I had to go to change my phone because my phone was giving me trouble, and I would miss some calls because sometimes it was dying. So it took me a while because I went and sat in that store for like 3 hours because the line was long. I didn't want to leave because if I left, I would go back and sleep and I would not go back again. And I already had an appointment. So when I sat down with this person and we were just talking. And I'm telling you, within like 30 minutes, there is so much that I had known about that person. That person was just a stranger and we just talked. But if it was an African, we don't talk about our stuff. We're just quiet. Sometimes you don't have to tell everyone, but talk to someone. There is that person that you can talk to if you feel like something is going wrong, if you feel like you have tried to stop and you're not able to stop. And if it is worse and you cannot even talk to a friend, get a professional and you will get help. Because we want to be good and responsible adults, and at the same time, we want to bring up our children to be good and responsible people. So I hope that this video is going to help someone. Thank you for always keeping Charities Bible USA. God bless you, and I'll see you in another video.